This is the Daybreak Show coming from Rock City 101.9 FM. Yes, this is the voice of the people. Citizens Forum this wet Tuesday morning. Dele Ayodo is my name. You are welcome on board.
And I am Chienye. Good morning and welcome to Citizens Forum. Okay, today on Citizens Forum, we shall be looking at the CJN and the Special Corruption Court cases. And then the CJN, Walter Onnoghen, had directed the heads of various divisions of courts to establish a special court to tackle the delay in the hearing and determination of corruption and financial crime cases. And he also directed the heads of courts to compile and forward to the NJC, that's the National Judicial Council, a comprehensive list of all corruption and financial crime cases in which they are handling.
All right, maybe this will go a long way in giving those Nigerians who believe that what the present administration is doing is, I'm quoting some of them, if you check out the messages that are on some social media and even the newspapers, will say that what the present administration is doing is recovering looted funds and not fighting corruption. I'm sure all of us as Nigerians, even those who are not Nigerians just watching us outside, will want to conclude that the only problem aside from leadership, in fact some people say it is corruption that bred the kind of leadership we have, that this country has, the only problem is corruption. That is why one British Prime Minister has the gut to describe Nigeria as fantastically corrupt. Let's check out if this position of the CJN will go a long way in giving those confidence, fighting corruption. Well, again, people will want to say you cannot kill corruption anywhere, but you can reduce it to a state of insignificance or infinito, like the Italians will say. We should have a guest, a lawyer, here on the program to look at it. Bureaucracy in our judiciary, in our court, remains a big problem. That's why we have some cases, corruption cases, so pending as high as 12 years. We have cases, for instance, of Peter Odili's case has not even started at all. So it's still a suspect. Remember the case of Orji Kalu of Abia State, trial yet to comment, and of course there are so many other high profile cases like that that have been on as long as 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Well, will you say corruption is fighting back, or it's simply we don't know how to fight corruption? Well, legal walls erected against this battle, will this remove it? And of course, those who says it is our constitution that is hindering it or faulty, will this again break that hindrance? These and many more, we will engage our guest as soon as he comes in. The CJN's position or the CJN's recipe to courts on how to fight corruption. It's been a long debate within the society. Let's have special courts to fight corruption. Is this what the CJN has suggested? How feasible is this? Yes, Citizens Forum will try and find answers to them in a couple of minutes. Let's enjoy some music. Hopefully, our guest will be around. Obviously, in Nigeria, we must never fail. It's not just by saying it from the words of your mouth. You also need to work it. You need to act it, ensure that it becomes reality. Maybe that's the position the CJN, Walter Onnoghen, is trying to give us. Yes, there's a confirmation our guest will be here. Mr. Tunji Onabawo, a senior lawyer, former ESCO member of the NBA. Is the rain outside there? He should join us anytime from now. While awaiting our guest, Chienye, maybe let's just begin to get the opinions and position of the listener.
Okay, you can do this by dialing the studio lines 0809 868 7344 or 0909 146 9670. And for the short code dial 32120 it is. First you type rock, then you leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send it to 32120. The Twitter handle, tweet at Rock City FM, and our Facebook fan page, Rock City 101.9 FM, Rock City 101.9 FM. What's your position on this? By the CGN to create special corruption court cases in different states.
Okay, let's get what you think really. How feasible is that? Are you in that class of Nigerians who will say it is not corruption that we are fighting, we are merely recovering those funds that were taken away illegally? Or do you have a fresh, different idea from what the CGN has positioned? Hello. Okay, 3210, the short message. The short code can also be used. Hello,
Type
Mon.
rock, you leave a
Yes.
space, type your message, include your name, and then you send it to 32120.
They've never been this bashed and battered by the society. Even those of us who are referred to as the unlearned people. So the learned people have been really receiving the flogging from different directions. That has to do with the performance,
Performance so
really.
far.
Honestly, for those who've had occasion to approach the court for any litigation when you want to file in any case, you know how that went. When people talk about corruption, corruption is not just an exchange of money or illicit discussion between the plaintiff, that's in the market balance customer, but because the plaintiff and the judge or the lawyer. It's even between the lawyers and the clerks, or yes, the clerks in the courts, where you get dates for your case. You get date for mention, you get date for registering your case, and all those kind of things. We take this short break, and by the time we come back, we should have our guest with us. Oh yes, we have him with us. Mr. Tunji Onabawo is a lawyer, former ESCO member of the NPM. Mr. Onabawo, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Thanks
and thank you for
for
joining us.
beating the rain to be here. Understand? Okay.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Okay, we're looking at the CGN directive. Okay, the establishment would actually help to fast track the trial of corruption cases in the country. What are the best ways to achieve this?
Well, the basic thing always in a democracy is the rule of law. And when we say the rule of law, it presupposes that we have a set of rules and laws that will guide our government, citizen government relationship and the very act of governance itself. And when we say the rule of law and the rules governing us, the usual foundation and the start point is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as variously amended. And the Constitution itself is a framework law. It's a foundation law in which on which all other laws derive their authority. And even government functionaries, offices, appointments, the civil service and everything, is the fountain of authority. So everything you want to do, you have to relate back to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is the Constitution that established various courts, which we refer to the Superior Court of Records, and even the Constitution gives state governments and the state government, so to say, the power to even establish courts that will that they require to tackle emerging social problems.
Okay. Let me move forward, or let's move forward from there. If it is the Constitution that grants those powers, and the CGN has given an order, before now, so many Nigerians will think the issue of this special crime, financial crime court is a constitutional issue. So, is this order of the CGN legal? Will it work?
Well, if we, like I said, if we trace all authorities and enablements and even all laws and acts back to the Constitution, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is an office created by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria too, and that office heads the apex court, the highest court to which anybody can appeal to, be you government or the governed. So, and that office heads a lot of institutions, like the council responsible for the administration, appointments and discipline of judicial officers. That's the National Judicial Council. By virtue of office, the CJN heads the Federal Judicial Service Commission and Privileges Committee and all of that. There are a lot of functions prescribed for the CJN in the Constitution and various laws, which include the Legal Practitioners Act and all that laws connected and has not everything to do with the administration of justice and the legal profession as a whole.
So you think this will fly? It cannot be challenged by Nigerians.
Well, let us go back again to the Constitution. The Constitution, I said, creates various courts. Some are created for the states, some are created for the federation. When I say federation, I don't mean the federal government, the federation. For example, all the appellate courts that we have now, when I say appellate courts, from the level of the High Court or the Customary Court of Appeal or the Sharia Court of Appeal up, and of course court martials and all these other institutions, including the federal National Security Exchange Commission. So all appeals from that level will go to, from the National Judicial, from the National Industrial Court, we go to the Court of Appeal. From the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. From that level, all those appeals are controlled by the courts established for the federation. The federal government has its own courts, like the Federal High Court. So appeal from there too, we go to the appellate courts. So it is judicially speaking and functioning as a judicial officer. The CJN sits over the Supreme Court, which is the highest appeal court, and of course we have the president of the Court of Appeal sitting over that intermediate appellate court. Now, administratively, all what the CJN can do administratively will be within the limits of his chairmanship as the National Judicial Council. And National Judicial Council, as far as all other courts down the lines are concerned, their function is about recommending to the executive appointment into the judicial offices in relation to each court. And of course, when it comes to the discipline of all judicial officers, all courts of records, all the judicial officers in all courts of record created by the Constitution, the NJC sits over that, and of course the CJN is the chairman. Then, if you will talk about conferment of the rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, we have the Legal Practitioner Privileges Committee, which again the CJN is the man sitting, being the chairman of that privilege. So administratively, he can give directive, practice directions about the functions of the Supreme Court, and even he cannot even give practice direction as per the functioning of the Court of Appeal. So administratively, his functions are limited. He cannot create court by fiat. That is the point.
Well, okay. The other angle before Chienye comes with our question is this: I've heard plenty, even lawyers, complain about administrative bottlenecks when you get to the court. With the creation of this special court, will it clear this bottleneck, which is believed to be some of the reasons why we have delayed in takeoff of cases of litigations.
The problem with Nigeria is that we like crash programs. If you have an institution having operational problem, look at the problem, and within the ambit of the law, if you need to amend the law establishing that institution, amend it. If you need to empower the officers in that institution, do so. If you need to pump money to finance, that is where the problem is always is. You do that. But you see a problem coming in now, and you adopt that fire brigade approach. Okay, let us create another institution to handle this. No, things cannot be done that way. That is why we continue to have the problems we are having. We have enough laws in our statute books that can easily be amended as to punishment and to time within to do certain things, instead of establishing ICPC here, EFCC there, all this corruption fighting. We have enough provisions in our criminal and penal codes to take care of all these things. All what need to be done is to look at the offenses that I imagine. If you don't have components of the ingredients in the existing penal laws, you amend and take like it is done. So the Administrative of Justice Act, which some state has a domicile. There is a step towards this direction I'm talking about. So don't just.
The Administration of Justice Act is like giving practice direction in courts too.
No, it replaces the Criminal Procedure Act and the Criminal Procedure Code, and of course all the criminal procedure laws in the states. So that's what it does. All this about investigation, granting of bail, issue of prison, and bringing accused person to court, and how to procure witnesses are amplified and expanded to take care of emerging development in our society.
Okay, let's look at it from this other direction too. Some people have lauded the CJN's directive. They have applauded it, saying it's the right step in the right direction, while some have said that we need a reform in the Nigerian judiciary. Which do you go for?
I must confess to you, I'm a regular listener to this station and particularly this program. You see, there is a lot of ignorance in the land. People are exhibiting crass ignorance in matters concerning the civil, our democracy and governance. And the reason is that an average Nigerian citizen will never invest his time or his money to be fully educated and enlightened about what is happening around him or her. So that is the problem. You see, all this when the CGN talked, we who know, just that talk is just for the play to the gallery, so to say. There is no substance in it. There is no way that what he said will be practicalized. If, for example, the state feels that okay, the corruption cases, and fortunately, the main prosecuting bodies for all these corruption cases we are having, they are institutions established by the federation, and they are just using the high courts of the states because that is the local court to handle some of these cases. But the problem about handling these cases, expeditious disposition of these cases, is beyond the court itself. What about the investigation? What about procuring witnesses to come to court? There is the corruption case of the former chief executive of this state still pending.
Okay, if you are adding that investigation is part of the regular delay, what about cases that have already been mentioned in court? We've had the preliminary stages, we have dates for hearing fixed, And then we still have them going on for 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Let me give you a common example. You see, the problem with us, like I said, all these anti-corruption institutions that are just being established, they still rely on the Nigerian police force for their investigation, for the procurement of witnesses,
I know
and what
that,
have you.
but in a situation where the case, we've already fixed it for hearing, it's been mentioned, all parties concerned, the plaintiff, the prosecutor, the witness, the defense, and the judge have agreed
Yeah.
on a date for hearing, and then we still have it dragged on. Is this still
I
at the doorstep of prosecution?
I will still give you the reasons for that. Even non-corruption cases arranged before the High Court, be it murder, be it armed robbery, rape, stealing, the institution that will investigate is the Nigerian police. In the investigation of a case, a police officer sits over the investigation. We call him investigating police officer, IPO. The IPO will take statements from witnesses, will take statements from the accused, take control of the exhibit, lodge it with the exhibit keeper in the police something. If arm or ammunition is involved, when it is when they get it, they send it to the police station, a police institution too. So at the end of the day, and you see, there's a time limit where you can hold an accused person in custody before charging him to court. At times, to beat this time limit, they quickly, without investigation being fully done and completed. You see, even at the level, at a certain level, in some cases where they have to pass the file to the Ministry of Justice for advice. I have worked in the place before. We have occasions to send the file back to them that go and investigate this, go and investigate that. Before they go and come, a lot of time. If peradventure the case has already been taken to court, you still have a lot of, you see, if particularly when a lawyer is prosecuting, a lawyer knows that, okay, this is the information, this is the printed statement of witnesses. The lawyer will be working on that, yes, if the man comes here and gives this evidence, this thing will be done. But we will get to court at a time. The IPO is a witness because he will tender all the statements. But when we say, okay, the original case file will be with him. With that original case file, the prosecuting counsel cannot do anything. So when we get to court, the prosecuting counsel will now say, okay, well, he will be looking for the prime witness in this case, which is the IPO. The IPO is nowhere to be found. Then you ask the process server. The process server is a policeman too. Where is the IPO? You say, okay, because of the insurrection in Mudateka or something, it has been posted with a team for assignment. Or even the transfer can be as far as Kano or Maduguri. Because the judge knows, and all lawyers knows that nothing can be done in the position of that case without the original case file and the IPO, adjournment comes in.
That takes us to Chienye's question, that is it not reform that should have been done, or is it the creation of buildings or institutions?
So I'm coming to that. What I'm just saying in a nutshell is that instead of us looking at our crime fighting, enforcement, prosecution, and all these and punishment institutions, we tend to create new ones. And the new ones we are creating, we still depend on the faulty apparatus on ground to make any impact. So we are just going round the circle.
Okay, so the perceived poor image of the Nigerian judiciary, how will this be redeemed?
Well, the perceived image of the judiciary is the perceived image of Nigeria, because those occupying the judicial offices are Nigerians. Then how do they get there? So, and then the society itself, Like I'm talking to you about the problem about case gets to court. Now, what normally happens in ordinary cases is that immediately the case they know that it's in court, the relation of the accused person will now be trying to trace the main complainant or the victim of the crime and be piling through churches, through mosques, through the environment he's living. Okay, your phone was stolen, your car was taken, we will replace this, we will replace that. Nobody has died by hanging in our generation before, so please help us. They will put a lot of pressure on the victim. Then some people will say, so we are Nigerians. Yes, that is the Nigerian way of doing things. At the end of the day, when they settle that complainant, at the very, very nick of time when he's supposed to come to court to give evidence, they will say, okay, the man went to London for medical treatment, and the court will keep adjourning. And there is a limit to which the court can adjourn. This scenario I'm painting it, and I know of it because I'm a lawyer. Majority of our societies, members of society, they don't know. Some who know are more or less the accomplices in what we are trying to say. We put much pressure on our judicial officers, and we say the image is better. The image of the whole country is highly better.
Okay, I mean, Mr. Onabawo, let's bring this back to the corruption issue we are looking at. Is this fighting, or will this fight corruption appropriately, or is this the arrow pointing at the target this time?
Well, the administration which came up on board in 2015, talking about fighting of corruption. The Bible describes a situation whereby you put new and strong wine in a very old container. When the chemical reaction in the new wine is too much for the container, definitely it will burst. So the apparatus to fight corruption, the political will to fight corruption may be there, but the apparatus of government to fight this corruption is the corrupted and corruptible apparatus of old.
That is being used.
That is being used. That is the problem with Buhari and his team. The zeal, the willingness, because it is two things. Or in the past, the apparatus is corrupted. There is no political will. So now we have a bit of the political will and the muscle. And the bit of political will and the muscle starts from the person who heads. You must be somebody who can just in Proverbs dance in the market naked. And you see Buhari and of course Oshibaju, they are passed through that stage now, and they are saying, okay, you have not seen anything against us that will make us not have that no moral status to confront it. After that, what will they use? They will only use the apparatus of government on ground, and that is where the problem is.
Okay, quickly, with the developments by the CJN now, what are the chances of its effectiveness?
Nothing will happen there, I can guarantee you that. Because for anything to happen, it takes each state of the federation, and of course the federal government itself, to amend the establishment laws of the various courts to enable them. All these things we are talking about is about jurisdiction. If you don't create an offense where a court can try, the court can try, you don't just throw accused person before that court and say, come and try. The man will just look at you and say, I appeal, and you don't have jurisdiction. So it is for the various state high courts to amend the law, because
Is it the state that will amend or the national?
No. You see, the constitution has given that leeway for them, that when it talks about the jurisdiction of the high court in section 274 thereabout, it talks about any other jurisdiction that by the law enacted by the House of Assembly, the court will have jurisdiction to grant.
And then again, the other one, can it be amended wholesomely? Well, what I mean is all the 36 states and the federal capital amending it at once, or each state will amend as its own convenience.
You know, what we are talking about is both the principal and what we call adjectival laws, because each of the courts, apart from the, say, High Court law of Ogun State, we have the criminal procedure, which is now being reenacted in criminal, I mean, this administration of justice, administration of criminal justice law. So each state has, each high court has what we call jurisdiction about what he can do, how he will do it. So a lot of things will go into it. The principal law will have to be rejigged to tell you then other things about judicial divisions, maybe creating various doors like family section, criminal section, and things like these are things that have to be done within the state administration of justice system in the state.
All right, yes, at this juncture, we need to take the break for the national news to come up at 10 o'clock. After that, yes, we'll still be asking our guest Tunji Onabawo, a lawyer, for his own position on how best this reform can be achieved. And specifically, basically, we'll be speaking on corruption, tackling corruption through the courts. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. God bless. All right, doing the right thing, obviously, you are likely to get the right result. But when you don't do the right thing, Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM this Tuesday, Wet Tuesday in the city of Abeokuta. We are looking at the attempt of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Justice Walter Onnoghen, trying to set up special courts that will specifically deal with corruption issues. And we have with us a lawyer, Tunji Onabawo. Mr. Onabawo, before we open the lines, let's get your own idea of an ideal way in which the court can fight corruption. The court now.
The administration of justice. The court is just the last bus stop. So the foundation of punishing any form of crime is in the courts. But the foundation of detecting crime, isolating it, and identifying the culprits is elsewhere. And that is the foundation of everything. So if that foundation is faulty, you either be bringing wrong persons before the court, or you'll be bringing inadequate and of course off the track evidence to prove such crime. So that is it. Beyond the court, court is just the court will always work on something that has been well prepared and finished to that level and pushed to the court. Look, court, this is a man we have identified. These are the evidence against him. Punish him as a form of deterrent to others. So that is just the function. The court is the last bus stop.
All right, let's permit you now to ask questions and make contributions on any of the issues so far with Mr. Tunji Onabawo.
Okay, the studio lines remain 0809 868 7344. Good morning.
Morning, Dele.
Morning.
Morning, my sister.
Good morning.
I wish you happy rainy season to you.
I wish it was you.
Good morning, Barrister.
I
wish you. I'm Kayode from Abeokuta.
Thank you, Mr. Kayode.
Yes, sir. Sir, you see, in fact, corruption has become endemic in our nation. You see that only God can probably pluck out completely. But we are trying. You see, no wonder President Buhari has been challenged to step forward. He felt the urge and the heat in him. He was then to step forward as well to offer his life to this nation and community to restore godly, just, and effective leadership. But unfortunately, I see him fighting this cause alone. No wonder Professor Jasade was so annoyed with the assembly members and even the APC as a party. See, Marisa, it is quite unfortunate. That's how we got there, and the CGN will now be asking for special court. I want to support CGN necessarily now. It is of necessity to have courts to try, especially those people that are involved in financial crime, especially those that are looters. You can imagine, you said something, sir, about administrative whatever. If you probably you are in the shoe of CGN and you are giving order, will you allow any court or judges around you to probably jettison the such idea? That's question one. Then what is your take, sir, about executive bill that Mr. President has probably sent for a while now? And then these people in the assembly are not ready to do anything to it. I don't know whether you...
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
begin
very
to wrap it up. Thank you very much, Kayode Olumide. Hello, good morning. Hello,
Hello, good morning, everyone.
good morning.
My name is Barrister. I'm calling from now. In the dispensation of the good morning, Dele.
Morning. I didn't get that name.
Yeah,
I'm
good
sorry.
morning, Law Barrister there.
I didn't get your name. Sorry about that.
Okay, I said Demola.
All right. Thank you. Demola, yes.
Okay, yeah. In the dispensation of justice, the CJN has done the right. He's trying to do the right thing. What are the efforts of the lawyers in particular not to pervert justice in this country? That is one. Then two, my barrister, I will refer you to the case of Peter Odili in River State. When his case came up, at the end of the day, the Supreme Court had said that they should not try him again. What will you say about that? Is that right? And what are the efforts of the lawyers to do the right thing and address them in the adjournment and adjournment? As the case of Egwuonwu, now that these days are past, 90 days are passed now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Hello,
Hello, good morning. Hello,
good morning, sir.
how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Mr. Ayodo, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. My dear learned barrister, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ayobodi.
Taiwo Ayobode.
Yes, you're on. Go on.
I'm Taiwo Ayobode from Sapcona area in Ikeja town.
Thank you.
Yes. Then you will remember that we have suggested this issue. I didn't want that. For this radio. That special force. I want to say special tribunal to be put in place to try this what do you call it? Corruption case. Because corruption, we have said it is quite seriously. Left hand, right hand, front and back. They are fighting. And we must fight it to a standstill. Then I want to suggest
Hello.
KFC to hire seasoned lawyers to prosecute cases for them. And this special tribunal also to give a time frame for this court, court to dispense of cases allotted to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
All right. Morning.
Good morning, Barrister in the house.
Good morning.
Name is Honorable Lanre Jaji Laruje. I'm calling from the People's Parliament in Apel. Yes, fortunately, we just finished discussing this same issue in our radio station now. And we said it's long overdue that we could have a special court to start, trying corruption cases, and we need to even expedite, all these, corruption cases process, so that within 2 months, we are done with one. The idea is, by the time we get out of corruption, we get in from corruption. I'm telling you, Nigeria is going to be okay. But in a situation where they bring in sand, somebody that sold 2 billion or 10 billion bring in the sand, and the sand was so meticulous enough to be able to counter the other get person from EFCC, and the guy won the case. It's not well, it's uncalled for. Anybody that is caught, that has been pronounced guilty, must be given necessary punishment and must be allowed to return the money from serving, prison terms. Let me allow other people to call. God bless you, people over there. God bless you.
All right, one call more.
Yes.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Dele. Good morning, Adi Chienye.
Good morning.
Good morning, our guest in there, Barrister. This is Ola Oluwati calling from Masala Bekuta. I just want to bring some scenario for you to study, sir. I want to say, note that the judiciary has come under armor in recent times. The president once said that the judiciary was not doing enough to facilitate with dispensation of justice, that there was too much delay. Later, presidential advisor on prosecution, Okoye Boli, said made another indictment of the senior lawyers that they use their privileged position to ask for endless adjournment in the name of interlocutory injunction. As a result, delay justice. Then, Malami, Attorney General, August last year, position that to fast-track trial of high-profile cases, National Prosecution Committee comprising 11 senior advocates of Nigeria was to be instituted. Then, again, during a national dialogue on corruption earlier this year, Professor Sagi said his committee had a form for people to go around looking for issues of adjournment and send the report to the Judicial Commission. He said a judge should put his foot down if a lawyer is erring and say, look here, I give you an hour, put your things together. Now, sir, I want to believe the CDN right on what he has said.
All right.
But for a special
Okay, we get to wrap it up.
in our judiciary. And I want us, let us be optimistic that is pronouncement will work.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
you.
right, thank you.
Okay.
So, well.
Dele, you see one point that will always be haunting any discourse about governance in Nigeria is, with due respect to all the callers, is ignorance. And of course, when we are talking about rule of law and even law itself, ignorance is no excuse. And you see, in all these things, it's just like the proverb in Yoruba, when a limping man or a lame man is carrying a skill load on his head. People will always say, yes, look at your load is bent to a side. But people will not think deep to look at the man from the feet, so to see where the cause of the skill load is coming from. You see, yes, everybody will be talking about judiciary, lawyers, and what have you. Well, I will never hold forth or defend anybody who is preaching his oath of office or is not living to expectation of his calling. But the question is, the judicial officers go and study well how they got into that position. Go and look at the system and what it takes, both seen and unseen, how to attain silk, that is to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. We should not shy away from all these things. That is one. The other thing that we always be underneath all these things and is causing all these problems is people will talk about some people using their knowledge to secure adjournment to prolong the hearing of a case. I'm a lawyer. I've been doing this thing for the past 35 years. Yet I'm not a senior advocate, but I don't see anybody, a lawyer, no matter the rank, that I will be in a case and he will use his something to prolong the case. I personally, as a lawyer, I want to dispose of my cases and get other ones. So that is just it. But you know the state of the Songwater Abeokuta Road. You know the state of the from Papa Land Road to Ilaro. And you know the state of how the Owode Yewa to Ilaro roads, because there is a judicial division in Ipokia, there is one in Agbara. Lawyers will come from everywhere to congregate in this court at 9 o'clock in the morning. At times, there was a time in this Abeokuta when I want to go to Ota, I wake up very early by 6:30, but before I could find my way to a psychiatric hospital, 1 hour would have been gone. One day, I was held up in traffic around Ayodo to Bury for upward of 1 hour. And at that time, I was phoning my clients in order to tell the whoever or the court registrar that I'm held up. Fortunately for me, myself and some of the judges going to that same court, we are held up. So that's at the end of the day, after we move out of that hold up, what happens for the work of that day? Or a lawyer will phone somebody and say, I'm held up in traffic around so. And when I know that I was held up in the same traffic, definitely that a lot of cases will suffer setback on that day. What is the position of our electricity supply? At the need of trial, at times, light will go off. If you look at in those days, the colonial high courts built around Tafawa Balewa Square, the race course, they were designed by the Europeans then, and some of these courts are still there. Around it, no window. They design air conditioner. When the light goes off like this, you cannot, as with our black gowns, you cannot see the person. It will take some time that you feel that somebody is beside you. If the light is not restored, ditto. Ditto for the judges' quarters, ditto for, we thank God in the last 10 years we find judges riding jeeps. But people were around with us here when they were riding refurbished 504, Peugeot 504, bought by the Ogun State government really in 1978 and be refurbished over the years. When a judge is retiring, they will take his car and give it to another one coming in. So, although most of these things are being, all these problems are being taken one by one, but the bad roads, the electricity, the poorly trained court staff, because in those good days when you take up appointments as a registrar in the court, you go to a lot of training, nice calling, they will procure people, all those things are not there. Dele, when last did you see a gazette of Ogun State government? And in those days, the gazette is part of the government information, land acquisition, anything, any special thing, anything you want to tender in court, you go to the gazette. But if you look now, you look and look, even you can bring an oculist to help you cleanse your eyes to see, you will never find one. So all these things, when you are talking about adjournment and adjournment, some of them are caused by lack of good working tools and bad infrastructures. And of course, the society itself. Like the one I said the other time, a victim of a crime who has settled with the family of the suspects now, and they've given him everything he wants and refuses to come to court. The one I was just trying to mention here in Ogun State here, the corruption case, one of the problems the EFCC lawyer is saying he has is that witnesses are refusing to call, and some people are saying that witnesses are being threatened. We should not turn a blind eye to all these things and start castigating some professionals that they are the one responsible. That is not so. The CJN knows all these things I'm talking about.
So that's the reform you are advocating
yes. For? We should reform the infrastructure, the material they work with, even the process of getting people appointed. It is not because he's a son of somebody or somebody knows the governor or somebody is a governor candidate and they get the person to that delicate and very serious office of a judicial officer. It's not for the lazy or the son of well-known people. It's a character-based job which you have to search yourself. Like a verse in the book of Sirach says that if you don't have the sense of character to fight against injustice, don't have it in your mind of becoming a judge.
All right, let's
All
take
right,
the
let's take the
messages.
messages and then tweets. Okay, we have this very first one from Abdurrashid Okinla from Abeokuta. This is a welcome idea from the CJN. If it's properly implemented, this administration, which is led by PMB, is working seriously to tackle this corruption. But the biggest challenge that is facing is the judiciary. Most of our judges are corrupt, making it very fruitless. I can't compare GEJ's government that says stealing is not corruption with that of PMB, which they claimed has no skill sets but has correct interpretation in his dictionary. God bless Nigeria, God bless myself, and God bless Rock City FM. Okay, that was sent in by Abdurrashid Okinda. Then I have this one from Ade. Is there any difference between corruption and looting? What is the meaning of this government not fighting corruption but recovering the looted funds? Looters are corrupt leaders looting the nation's treasuries. Recovering the looting funds is same as fighting corruption. And if the past government has been fighting it in this manner, then corruption would have been reduced to the barest minimum. But in the past, they have been going away with the unqueried reasons for the continuous before now. Okay, that was sent in by Ade. Then this one from Kayode from Randa. Barrister, where lies the relevance of Professor Sagi in the fight against corruption in the face of the face muzzle that is flexing democratic
Sorry,
power?
I overruled that. We are not
Okay, we're
discussing
not
Professor
discussing that.
Sake.
Sure. Corruption, as I don't think that it is the challenge. The challenge is the opaque judicial process. That's from Yemi Da Vinci. Then we have Ayoade Shorunke. Good morning to all in the studio. Good morning to you too. Will we get a better result in the fight and convictions if we separate the office of the Minister of Justice and that of the AGF? Then Yemi Da Vinci still. Nigeria had issues with JAMB and created the post-UTME. Then SFU should have been strengthened instead of starting ICPC and EFCC. That's a suggestion from Yemi Da Vinci. Then Nigeria likes creating a new layer of bureaucracy when one layer has an issue instead of reforming and strengthening the existing ones. When I heard that the CJN gave the directive, I asked if he had such powers to declare such. Barrister Onabawo, does he have the powers to declare such? Those are questions from Yemi Da Vinci. Then you are a very detailed and erudite submissions being given this morning by Barrister Onabawo. There are lawyers and there are very good lawyers. That's still from Yemi Da Vinci.
You may want to react to any of the issues raised. Question?
Yes, um, I've stated categorically when we started this program that um, as the law stands now, the CGN has not the power to order the creation of
Any court?
any special court. The creation of any special court, like any other institution, is by law. And who are the lawmakers? The National Assembly or the Houses of Assembly of the states. Then talking about ICT, yes, in the administration of justice, even in the legal profession itself, one has to move with time. I can recollect that when I started practicing at Abeokuta here, except for some offices, the government institution and its very few chambers who has an electric typewriter, the thing has been manual typewriters. If you see, in those days, if you see the typing pool of the Rotimi Williams chambers in Shagamu Avenue, you see all this Olympia typewriters.
Typewriters.
But now you can hardly operate as a lawyer going to court without using the CPU system to process your papers. The court will even tell you the rules of court too. They will tell you that if you want to file a brief, they will even prescribe the font type and the font
You will
size
use
and you
for
will
your
use.
typing.
So, and all these judges or our judges are receive special training in ICT. So that is not the issue. But ICT or no ICT, where is the power where is the electricity to power all these things? When when you are working and use your that storage something for electricity, you have to shut down and so that you don't then there's a limited battery of your computer can carry you. So we have to improve on these basic infrastructures, roads, electricity supply, water supply, and all what have you. They have their own ripple effect on the performance of all these important public officials. Well, people have been talking when you say special courts, the world, at any point in time we are just fond in Nigeria of creating special walls that have been existing there before, and they have their special meaning. There are no special courts. Special courts. Section 6 of the Constitution, which creates all these courts, give provision that the state or the federal government may want to create special courts. You see, election petition tribunals are in the species of special
Special
courts.
course, yes.
Because of the problem of election petition and election dragging, appeal dragging, when the man has been spent, the main man being challenged has spent a lot of time in then if you want, you see, to file an election petition and succeed, you have to do a Herculean task, because they place you on a very limited time to file certain
30
papers,
days
and
most
even
time.
the appeal tribunal, I mean the election petition tribunal are given, even the appeal tribunal, all of them are given limited days from when they start hearing the case till they deliver their judgment. Any judgment delivered outside that time is of no use. So in a way, in the negative side, that limits the freedom of the aggrieved to ventilate his grouses against I will know the way we conduct our elections here. It's always fraught with irregularities. But it is because the law wants the thing to be done expeditiously. And you see, with all what we are saying, go and look at the courtrooms being used by some of these election petitions when they are convened, because they use the old courts of the High Court with lack of facilities, with lack of bulbs, and even with crowded, very small
No,
chambers.
in the north, some use the magistrate
You see, when you use people say create special court, create special court, you will still create that nomenclature. You put it inside that old and even corrupted system of administration of justice. They are not going to come from Europe like Kola said. So those are the issues that we have to
Alright, do
consider.
we have more messages? I'll go to them while we
Yes,
take
sure. We
calls.
have some messages
Okay,
before we
let's
go
go
back
to
to
the
the calls.
messages.
We have this one from our Facebook fan page from Fashion Olumuyiwa Samuel. Creating or establishing a special court for corruption case is not the solution. Our problem is with the legislature, both the national and state assemblies. Since politics decides everything in the universe, our politicians have enough resources to bend all the rules that are laid. Okay, that was sent in by Fashion. Then we have this from Ade. Special courts to handle criminal or corrupt cases is long overdue. The present judicial system is not helping PMB in fighting corruptions, allowing the accused persons and lawyers delay tactics, the adjournment upon adjournment. Imagine the cases of ex-corrupt governors, many others not concluded or even yet to kickstart in the past 12 years. The lawyer in the studio, defenses on why cases are being delayed is unacceptable. They know when they delay the cases deliberately. Okay, that's from Ade. Then we have this one from Ademola Adebajo. Good morning, Vox City family. Good morning to you too, Barrister. What is your take on the plea bargaining of corrupt officials, and why are they always asking for the adjournment to go for treatment abroad during trials? You have not answered my question on Odili's case. That was sent in by Ademola Adebajo. Now we have this one from IK. Who and who is corrupt? And who is going to fight the corrupt people? Can a country develop, can a country develop with corruption? If no, then what of other developed countries that is even corrupt more than Nigeria is, but they're still developed? So who and who is corrupt, and who is going to fight corrupt people in our country, Nigeria? Okay, those are the questions we have now. Quickly address that, then we'll go back to the calls.
The caller is asking about Odili case. You see,
Case?
I'm a lawyer and I'm still in practice. It is easy for anybody to pick up something in the pages of newspaper and start commenting on it. But as a trained lawyer,
You have to know the
I
details.
will never comment on any case until after I read the judgment. And of course, at times when I have to go through the whole proceedings to know what happened at a point
That
and
led
why,
to so
because before a judge eventually delivers a judgment in a case, in between there would have been a lot of interlocutory applications whereby the judge will have to deliver the ruling before the case can progress. When they tender a piece of document, which, because there is the law of evidence and they prescribe how you will tender a document, and the tendering of that document offends one of the rules about the tendering of documentary evidence, be it public or private document, then there will be an objection. In between, the judge sitting over the case, without even rising at times, we have to deliver
yeah, we have to rule
a ruling
objection.
on that objection. You see, people should, the courtrooms are open. People should find time when they are on leave or when they don't have anything to do. They should visit the court, sit down quietly if you don't disturb the court, and the court is open. It's not the executive chambers of governors or federal executive council. You go there, it's a public place. Like a cleric said yesterday, the courtroom is even more open than the police station. Go there and see firsthand what is happening. Don't rely on somebody told somebody or you pick something in a page of a newspaper. The ownership of the newspaper may dictate what you will read and what you not read. So that is it. Try as a responsible citizen of this country, let's get ourselves abreast of information. The POB Act is already passed. So freedom FOB, freedom of information. Let us utilize all these things and don't just sit in the comfort of our home and offices and listen to television and radio, and of course some of us who can borrow newspapers from people and start building a discourse on it, which may be very, very faulty in terms of factual details.
All right, quickly,
Okay,
two
let's
calls,
two
not
calls.
more than that.
Okay.
Two. Hello, first.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Isamu Sabenes from Agbado. You see, the reason why this special code will not work, one, this crime has been misdiagnosed, like the case of cancer and TB. You see, they have the two different symptoms. They are all like one another, all appreciate this. So this is also like this case. This case is not a corporate crime. Little between corporate crime and corruption is very, very little. And it's only those who have the experience, who have the high level of understanding of the system, know. Only me and Madam Lulu Ribadu know about this how you think for understanding of this crime, this here. But they are not. That is why they become the victim of this thing. And they are under serious under the name of revolution. This is a complete racist thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. The last call. 08098687344.
Or 0909-146-9670. Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning. Your name?
My name is Yusuf. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Okay, thank you for calling. Quickly.
Yeah. Good morning to Barrister here and your colleagues. I think I have an issue with I think the intelligentsia in Nigeria, and most times most people who give out discourse. And I think I want to disagree fundamentally with our guest here on the issue of political will and institutions. I don't think we lack institutions in Nigeria. What we lack is political will. Nigerians have been chief judges of other countries and they distinguish themselves, they discharge themselves creditably. Nigerian lawyers have discharged themselves very well at the international forum. So when you come to Nigeria, let me give you a good example.
Quickly, in
The
10
issue of
seconds.
judges of the Supreme Court. A Nigerian lawyer withdrew from one of the cases. Why? Because the political will was not there to prosecute the former.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Barrister Onabawo, you want to react to the last set of calls? And then I don't know if you can do this within the next minutes we have. Can you explain to the listener what this special court to fight corruption means, really? And maybe how to operate. Do you have an idea?
Well, until, like I said, the thing is established by law, which will prescribe the modus operandi, those who will sit in the court as judges, whether it's going to be a sole judge or panel of 2 or 3, what he has to do, the procedure and what have you. Really, the special court is a descriptive term for a court, ad hoc court established for a specific purpose, like the election petition tribunal.
Okay, that means we should need more detail. Election tribunal, I understand. The National Industrial Court also.
Even the National Industrial Court is a full-fledged court that exists. Jurisdiction is limited.
Yes. Corruption courts, jurisdiction, you cannot take
corruption,
other offenses or criminal act to it.
Corruption is just the aggregate of offenses already prescribed by law. Stealing goes into corruption. For example, if you steal, it depends on the property.
Not violent stealing.
You are not violent, but you are appropriating to yourself. You are abuse of office and all these things. Some of them are already in the criminal code there. The issue there is what the punishment to be prescribed. And I will just go quickly to the person talking about plea bargaining. Plea bargaining is another system of punishment in administration of justice. You see, Yoruba will say, if somebody committed a crime, be it corruption or what you call it, or steal government property, and you are able to just get the whole of that thing or a substantial part of it from him, then the issue of punishing him will have to be reduced. That has always been the system. What of our prison now? The prison is already congested. What do you get if you throw somebody whom you have recovered what he stole from him and just plead guilty, and nobody will be bothering about atonement and things like that? So that is it.
All right, interestingly and painfully, we have to end it here. We have to end it, but don't worry, you can keep the debate on the different social platforms that we have, the Facebook, the Twitter, and let's continue to educate and inform ourselves. And of course, on the open day on Friday, yes, let's keep talking. We appreciate you, Mr. Tunji Onabawo, a lawyer, for defying the reins to come in here on this wet, cool Tuesday. And of course, to everybody who've joined us this morning, I say thank you. Dele Ayodo is my name, saying God bless you all. God bless Nigeria and God bless Rock City.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu. Let's continue to do the right thing.